Okay, well hey neighbors, welcome to the Shed Shop and this edition of How To. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to replace your crankshaft seals on your 1123 series chainsaw, which includes your 021, your MS210, your 023, your MS230, your 025, and your MS250. This also includes the small saws, I forget which series they are, but your 017s through your MS180s. And I'm also going to show you how to determine if you need to re-ring your saw. Okay, so my saw is already disassembled, and you guys, if you're new to the channel, welcome, thanks, please subscribe, and you can go to the 025/MS250 series, and I'll teach you a lot of different stuff on these chainsaws and how to disassemble them. The one other thing is, I'm going to show you the place again, that because this is where, damn, I got shit in my eye again. I can't believe I wear safety glasses and I still keep getting shit in my eyes. His saw had an air leak in one of the places I tell you guys when you do your gasket maker to make sure you use extra. And so I'm going to point that out to you again and just show you the little different tricks that you can use, no specialty tools, to do this job. So again, if you need to see how to disassemble the saw to get to the point that we're at, just go to my playlist section and go down to the 025/MS250 series, and you'll find a bunch of videos on these model saws. Okay, so I'm going to turn you down to the bench and we're going to get to work, damn it, neighbors. Okay, so the first thing is you want to make sure everything's really clean. If you've got carbon on the top of your piston, you can use some brake parts cleaner and like 320 grit sandpaper to remove that very carefully. Or if you have other chemicals, tips and tricks, use what you know. Go down in the comments and tell me what you do to remove excessive carbon from your chainsaw piston, okay? And combustion chamber. I used to have abrasion tools that I could reach deep down in there and clean combustion chambers, but now I don't, okay? So, first thing I want to do is determine, does my saw need new rings, okay? So, you're going to take your ring and place it. It's easier if you put the groove down and place it into your chainsaw cylinder. And you want to try and make sure it is as level as possible. And then you will need some feeler gauges, okay, like so. And we need to check what our ring gap is. And then I'm going to show you the formula you need to use to determine if your ring gap is too large. I'm going to start with a 20 thou, and this is beyond 20 thou. I'm going to go up to 22. And that's still loose. So let's try 25. And that doesn't fit. So let's try 24. Okay, and that fits nice and snug. So our ring gap is 24 thou. We're going to move our ring down to another area just to check it again. Try and get a couple of different measurements. Again, it's best to try and get your ring nice and level as best you can. And that's nice and snug. So our ring gap is 24 thou. How do we know, Chainsaw Redeemer, if our rings need replaced once we know our ring gap? Well, you open your calculator on your phone. Okay. And this is a 42.5 millimeter bore. So you take your bore size, 42.5, and you multiply it times 0.04%. We have 0.017, okay? Next, we're going to multiply it by 0.05%, and we have 0.021. So we want to have a ring gap somewhere in between 0.017 and 0.021 or 22 if we round up. These rings really should be replaced. I am going to check with my customer if he wants to have them replaced, because he has a budget on his 3 saws. These are for neighbor Randall, by the way. He has a budget on these 3 saws that he wants to stay within, and so when we go adding $15 rings, it changes the total cost here. I can't get this ring out and I feel like it's going to snap. Okay, so I'm going to use my other ring and I'm going to check the same thing. I'm just going to go in a couple of different spots here. Okay. can't seem to get this ring in. Chainsaw Redeemer is struggling today as usual. Okay, and since our other one was 0.024, that should be about the same. And actually this one is tighter. Okay, so let's go down to 0.023. And this ring is 0.023, so almost the same. Okay, so that's very close. If you don't want to spend the extra $15, I'm sure your saw would be fine. But if you're this deep into your chainsaw and have it torn down this far, my recommendation is to replace your rings. So I'm going to check with my customer real quick and go grab some rings in case he wants them. Okay, so we're going to do his 029 Super and this saw, and then see how much budget we have left on his 017, because I already know exactly what that one's going to cost. He unfortunately needed bearings on that and may need rings too. So I have my new Caber rings here, okay, and I'm betting that it's going to be probably like 0.010 or 0.015 with these new rings, okay, before break-in. Oh, and the other thing you got to try and do when you measure your ring gap is you don't want to have your ring over your exhaust or intake ports if you can help it. Yeah, see, that's basically almost no ring gap. So probably going to be at like 0.0, let's try 0.017. Yep, so it's going to be probably 0.010. And this is a good way, putting a new ring in your bore is a good way to measure your bore as well if you don't have bore gauges. So we're at 0.010, just shy of that. Okay, and then what I did is I cut a piece of tin out of a soda can, and you can literally cut this with a razor knife, okay? And I'm going to smooth my edges here on one side. Okay, and then you want to take it around your, bend this the other way. Take it around your crankshaft, okay, and get you an idea of where it needs to be cut, okay. I'm showing you guys this in case you don't already have one. I don't use tin on these. I can install my rings without it, but I figured I'd show you guys again what it's like. So take a marker here, mark just where it just overlaps itself, okay. And take our razor knife. This will dull your blade, so have a fresh blade ready after you do this, okay? And I'm just going to guesstimate here. This doesn't have to be perfect. I definitely cut that crooked as hell. Okay, that should be close. Okay, and this will help install your rings. You want to take some grease and fill this cavity with grease. I have a little grease gun that I use, okay? And then you want to take either high-speed bearing oil or two-stroke oil and go ahead and oil your bearings, okay? You don't have to overdo it. It's just to get them a start, make sure they're lubricated when we start our saw again. This is for both if you have replaced the bearings or not. You want to make sure you've cleaned everything really well. Always have some clean paper towels when you're doing this kind of stuff. Clean work area. Okay, spin our bearings, get that oil in there. Okay, now we will take our new rings and put them on our piston. I need to clean this crevasse here, the ring seat, because it's got little carbon killers in it. Okay, we've got that done, so we will go ahead and put our piston rings on. Just carefully stretch it over the piston. Your groove goes up, okay, for your pins, and just very carefully, you don't want to scratch your piston when you do this, okay. Okay, once we get it in our groove, we will go ahead and make sure it's where we need it to be. Okay, next one. Okay, there we go. And these are Caber rings. I do sell these, so if you need some 42.5 millimeter rings, I have them. I'm currently out of stock of the 42s, unfortunately. Okay, and then take some grease, and you want to grease the dust lip. I am using Pharmatech crankshaft seals. Thank you, Jesse, at bluesaws.com for providing a lot of my chainsaw parts. You guys can go to Jesse's website, bluesaws.com, and put in the promo code SHEDSHOP, one word, all lowercase, SHEDSHOP, and Jesse is giving you 10% off with that promo code. And so just let him know Chainsaw Redeemer sent you over there. Okay? So this is just, again, to give these a good start at their life, to make sure they don't rip and get the friction burning them out. Don't lose your clip for your crankshaft. Now take your tin, okay, and wrap it around your crankshaft, okay. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to shorten this. See what I do with my knife, neighbors. Boy, I thought I'd be able to make this video a lot shorter than it is now. Okay, so we're going to cut that, okay. And then I want to smooth these edges a little bit more. Okay, there we are. Make sure this is nice and clean. Okay, you can take a little bit of grease or oil on your tin. Is not always a bad idea. But my grease gun I'm finding is run out. I set the wrong thing down. So let me use my white lithium here. Just as a kind of a lubricant to help you not rip your ring up, okay? So you can just kind of grease that up, okay? And then wrap it around your crankshaft, okay? This is why I don't use this, because I have a good way of putting these on where I don't need to do that, okay? And then hold that tight like that, okay? Yeah, I'm struggling. I'm going to show you it's easier to do it this way. Put your ring on first so you don't rip it, okay? Damn it. I'm struggling, guys. Sorry. My hands don't work properly. It's very easy to rip these crankshaft seals, the dust lips, okay? So once that's on, now we can put it on our crankshaft, okay? Fold it over tight, nice and tight. And slide your ring down, but push it. See how my crease is this way, so as I slide, I'm going to take my ring and relieve the pressure off of the seam, okay, so I don't rip my dust lip, okay. And then all you do, keep sliding that down. It's going to get tight, and then once you've got it against the bearing, just go ahead and take your tin and pull it off, okay. Mine slipped, but I make sure my spring isn't ripped out or popped out. Go ahead and give that a couple of turns, and then put your clip back on. I gotta hurry up because I gotta take Uncle to the doctor and we gotta go to the dump. Okay, and then on the other side, you would do the same thing, and it's just to protect it from the flywheel key, but for sake of time, I do it this way. I start it, and then I'm gonna push my ring up like this so that it doesn't touch that flywheel notch out, my dust lip, okay? Push it all the way against my bearing and then pull back just a little bit. Okay, give it a couple of spins, then take your paper towel and you're going to clean the outside of this where it's going to seat into your engine pan and your cylinder. You don't want that grease on there because it will interact with your gasket maker in a bad way and prevent you from having a good seal. Okay, not always, but I've seen it happen, so it's better to be safe than sorry. Okay, now the next thing you want to do is, this is the 1123 series. And the 017s, 170s, 180s are more infamous for leaking at these intake boots. But you don't have an actual clamp holding this on. All it is this shroud. And the aftermarkets sometimes don't fit right. And OEMs, for a $10 part, you already have gasket maker. So I've showed you guys this before. I always do this on these saws. It's just good preventative measure. Why are you leaking? I must not have put my cap on tight. Okay, so just take you some gasket maker, okay, and you can either apply it to your cylinder directly right there, or in this rib, okay. Just got to make sure it's dry. I have it gone through an ultrasonic bath, so still got a little bit of stuff on it, okay. And that's the other thing. Make sure all your surfaces are good and clean. Shit, see, I missed some gasket maker on this. Try so hard to be ready, and I've screwed everything up for you guys as usual. Did you dirty? Sorry, neighbors. Trying my best. Got a lot on my plate right now, and I'm in agonizing pain too, so that doesn't help. Okay, so just a thin coat. Again, it's just insurance, and then you've got this little triangle here at the bottom. That's so you can line this up in the center. See that seam right there? And so if you start on the bottom, put that right centered, okay, and then work it on top like that, and then put your shroud on, okay. And then you want to push that down firmly and secure it. Okay, make sure it is all the way on. You want to make sure it is all the way on, okay, neighbors? Alright, next, go ahead and take you some 2-stroke oil and just apply a little bit inside your cylinder. And then spread that around. Make sure you don't get any dirt or dust or metal fragments or anything like that in, because that risks your chainsaw blowing up. You also want to check on your exhaust port on the inside to make sure there's no little chafer. And actually, I feel a little bit on this. This is only 220 grit, but I'm going to make it wet. And here we go. Redneck style. Don't tell Randall I spit on his saw. Okay, and I'm just going to very gently, hopefully, damn, everything is fighting me today. Just rub that chafer off that exhaust port so it doesn't catch our piston. Okay, there we are. And I'm probably going to clean this exhaust port a little bit real quick. Just kind of wipe some of the loose stuff off here. Normally I do this before I do the saw, but I kind of forgot, unfortunately. Okay, so clean that out. Take our clean paper towel, and I'm just going to wipe our cylinder again and re-oil it, just to make sure, just to be safe. Little carbons, little tiny pieces of carbon. Diamonds are made from carbon, and diamonds are hard. If you ever heard of a diamond blade, okay, they come to seek, kill, and destroy your chainsaw. They're bad for your chainsaw. Neighbors, don't let them do it. Alright, so let me go ahead and set this here so I can get rid of that little bit there. And the one other thing I did is I do need to clean this surface a little better. You can use chemicals for this. I forget the name of the alcohol. You can use sandpaper inside the groove. You can use a little screwdriver. If you're careful, you can use a Dremel with a sanding wheel or sanding disc. Just don't take off all kinds of material. Okay, get inside your grooves here. Okay, make sure that's clean. Okay, we'll spray that off with air. And then we'll spray it with some brake parts cleaner to be safe. And we'll dry it with some air. And we will go ahead and start our gasket maker on our cylinder. I'm looking for my cylinder bolts. Where the hell did they go? Uh-oh. I had them out, neighbors, and I don't know what I've done with them. Chit. Okay, I'll have to find those as soon as I get this together, because we have to have them to mount our cylinder and seal it up. But it will be okay as long as I find the bolts within a minute or two of applying this and mating our surfaces. Okay, now when you do your pan, this is absolutely crucial, you guys, because this is where his saw leaked. Where you drop down into your cavity right here, okay? Right here. You want to apply extra gasket maker right here in this area right here, okay? Very important. If there's anywhere you're going to use too much, that's where saws leak a lot there. And then, as I said, the smaller saws, the 1123 series, and then I think they're 11... I don't know. I can't remember, damn it, the 017s through 180s. They get air leaks at that intake boot quite a bit. And then the same place on these engine pans, 1123 series, 1127s. Many Stihls have the same style engine pan when it's not a split crankcase, okay, when it's just a chassis. Okay, so then you want to put a little bit down in your oil seal seat here. Make sure you don't overdo it toward the back, because then your seal can go sideways. Okay, so I will just kind of take my nail or a tool and make sure I don't have a bunch of extra down there. Toward the inside right here is what I'm talking about. If you're, damn, can't talk. Okay, if your gasket maker is built up like that instead of flat and smooth, your seal can slip sideways when you go to put this together and apply pressure with your bolts. Okay, so you want to make sure it's fairly even And then as we install this, we watch our seals and consistently push them in to make sure they are seated where they need to be and not sideways, etc., etc., etc. Okay, I know this video is not perfect. I really thought it was going to be like a 10-minute video, but I have failed you, neighbors. Okay, so just got a couple of areas here. I want to make sure I get a little bit more. Go ahead and wipe this excess here. Start right there where I need that extra. Make sure that's good and filled. Okay. Now while I've got this done, I'm going to go ahead and put my piston in. You have an arrow right here. It's hard to see on this one, but your arrow always faces your exhaust. These will typically slide in without a ring compressor. The cylinder will typically compress the rings itself. Not always, but usually. Okay. Like so. And sometimes we have to use a screwdriver just a little bit. You can put it down inside your transfer ports here to push it closed. I think one of my rings is not, it turned on me, I think. It's not closing evenly on the pin there. So let's try again. There we go. Okay. Pull your seals back just a little bit away from your bearings. Not much. 1/8 of an inch, not even, probably more like a 1/16 of an inch. Okay. Push your piston down in. Make sure that's lined up evenly. Okay. I have to pull this ring back a little bit more so it doesn't sit on the lip. Damn it, come here, baby. Okay. And then we'll just kind of use our fingers to push our rings on the bottom only. Okay, now, there's my bolts. They were right in front of me. Did you neighbors tell me? You probably did. You're probably like, you dummy, your bolts are right in front of you. Now, we'll go ahead and get some on our engine pan here, okay? Nice, even coat. Too much is better than not enough, but too much is just as bad, if not worse, than not enough. I'm sure if you're regular to the channel, you have heard me say that before, and you've seen me do this a dozen or so times. We are going to start getting into more individual technical teaching videos as I get the new shop done, you guys. We'll do more interesting stuff and not just all these tear downs and rebuilds. And I have taught you some various different things like testing your fuel lines and how to change certain things. But if you guys have a video you want specific, you can request it. And if I have that model chainsaw, like if you're like, I can't get this part in, or I don't know where this goes, or I'm struggling to get my handle on my 291, I can't get it into place, it's fighting me, I feel like it's going to break, etc. Just ask me. I'll hook you guys up, okay? Again, extra right there. Make sure that bitch is filled up. Don't want an air leak. We don't want to have to redo this. And we don't want our neighbor's saw to blow up. Okay, so there we go. You've got this little groove here for your oil pump. And so that will always go on your clutch side. And that's how you know which way your damn, I can't speak straight, your pan goes. There we go. Okay, now, I haven't spent a lot of time cleaning his chassis, but 20 minutes was enough. This thing was filthy as hell. And then you should be able to just slide this in here, tilt it, get your crankshaft through that side right there like that. And, ah, damn it, wire's in the way. Sorry, neighbors, I'm struggling now, as usual. Okay. Yeah, it's fighting me now. Now it wants to be an asshole. Okay, so I'm going to try this way. Lower it down more. There we go. Get that in. Our pan stayed together. That was the important part. When you're shimmying that in, you don't want your pan to start coming apart, your seam, because then dust will sneak in there. Your schmutz on your saw. That's why it's important to have a clean saw, but his saws were so filthy. I've already spent over an hour total trying to clean schmutz off of his MS250 here. And then put your 4 bolts in. Where is Monty 27? Sorry, gotta set you down, saw. Okay. And then we want to snug these evenly, okay? You're going to tighten them nice and evenly. So you're going to go corner to corner. Okay, so get them all started. Okay. And then start back at the beginning and gently seat it. Go to the other corner, gently seat it. this corner, gently seat it. Okay, now we're going to go in a star pattern. Oh, damn it. Why did that click back like that? Fucker. Piece of shit. Spend all that money on tools and they never work right for me. Buy brand new shit and it's always breaks and stuff. Just like my $300 ultrasonic, I have to have it replaced. Okay, and then grab you a T27 hand turner, and we are going to torque these down to Guten tight. If you have a torque wrench, great. You can easily get the specs on how tight to torque these online. Okay, but I don't use a torque wrench. I just go Guten tight, and it seems to work out for me usually. Okay, just kind of have a feel for it, an understanding of, you can feel when these things seat down. And hopefully I did everything I said I was going to show you guys in this video at the beginning. I don't know. Okay, and that's going to be it. And then once this is, oh shit, I forgot to tell you guys, and I just made a mistake. You want to keep an eye on your crankshaft seals as you do that. And realistically, usually I take me a socket before I tighten them down, and I will push them in. But fortunately, I got lucky. These are nice and straight, but we can, since these are hard seals, not soft seals. They say you can replace these without splitting the pan, but I have never. I have the OEM Stihl press arbor for these, and I've never successfully had one go in without splitting the pan. But I'll just gently tap this just to make sure it's seated where it needs to be. Okay, you want to use the right side socket. It will not fit on this side, but you can take your scrunch or a screwdriver very carefully, again, and you want to get it in the right place, way away from your lip. And I will turn it sideways on my seal like this, okay? And I will just gently, just make sure it's seated down there. Okay, and it is. I can tell by looking at it, but just to show you guys the trick. Okay, and if for some reason it's uneven, loosen your screws before you try and straighten it out. Okay, we're good to go. That's it, neighbors. That's how you do your crankshaft seals on your MS250 chainsaw. We showed you the piston rings as well, little tips and tricks, and also how to know if you need to change your piston rings. One more time, that formula is, you take your bore measurement, so again, this one was 42.5 millimeter, and you multiply it by 0.04%, and then you do the same thing by 0.05%. This one came out to what we say 0.017. This one came out to 0.0215. So realistically, between 0.017 and 0.012 or 0.022 is your absolute max. If you're at 0.025, you're still going to have life left in your rings, but for $13.99 from me with shipping, or if you buy them directly instead of on eBay, I can do them for like $11.99. You might as well replace your rings. So that's it, neighbors. Like the video, comment down below. Tell me what tips and tricks you use to remove gasket maker and everything else. Look, I can't make a less than 30-minute video for you guys most of the time. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And share this video with your friends. Be kind to one another. Everyone is facing a battle. Love all 8 billion of you. Even though that's probably a lie, and even though I suck at it, but I'm going to keep trying, neighbors. Till next time, #persevere.